Hi, I'm James. I worked mainly on the UI for the game. I did the main menu, challenge menu, options menu, as well as the game UI and task section. The main menu allows the player to continue from your last save, open up the other menus, such as the challenge menu, which lets you select a map, and the options menu, which lets you reset the game, and also change the volume of in-game music and sound. I also made sure that the game scaled properly. To test the UI, I used developer options in Android that show you where the pointer is on the screen. It was very useful in finding buttons which were too small or hard to press, as you can see exactly where you're tapping on your screen. I also had to test that the game and music volume was saving correctly when exiting and reopening the game by setting it to different values and then checking the values after the game has been reopened. So for our Trello board, we went in between quite a few things. We had all our Trello cards in the sprint backlog for sprint 1, and then when we started to work on them, we'd move it to in development, and they stayed there for a majority of the time. When we had thought we'd finished the card, we would move it into testing, and then from testing, if it passed, we'd move it into done. So for sprint 1, we focused mainly on creating the basis for the game, such as creating the map, creating the enemies, and all the UI and menus, as you can see here. For sprint 2, we're focusing on more of the features that will complete the game, such as saving, having more than one map, having more than one type of enemy, random levels, and more other features that are harder to implement. You can see that we've moved some into development already. We also used our Trello board for order planning, such as daily stand-up meetings and order planning documents. You can see here on our sprint burn down chart, we started off quite strong, going beneath the line, and then we kind of slowed down after the first week, and we got a little bit behind, and then by the end we'd realized that we had put too many user stories into the first sprint, and we weren't able to complete them all, which is why we only got around about half of the points done, since the ones that we didn't finish were quite large, such as creating 8 maps, which we should have put for sprint 2.
Hi, my name is Mingzhe Jia. In our project, Tower Defense, I created enemy object and wave spawner in the game. I have to make sure each enemy object can move from the start point to the end point based on the waypoints which are set in the map. The problem in the development, you see we have different maps in the game. I need to make the enemy object start from the start point in every map, so I have to confirm the I have to confirm the position of the first waypoint in each map. Yeah, for the next step, I'm going to create multiple kinds of enemies to make the game more interesting.
In Sprint 1, I worked on the map generation and the camera views. When I first started creating the map, all the tiles and waypoints were placed by hand, and that took a very long time to create even a single map. I turned to code generation for creating every single map. This made it much more efficient. Also, this means that we only require one single scene. The original idea for setting up the camera was to use a 2D environment and then mapping it onto a 3D environment, or vice versa. But then we later found out that it would be way too complicated to do that, because everything on both sides needs to be synced up together. An idea later came to me when I could actually do something similar to a mini-map, which led me to a solution of using an orthographic perspective of the camera, which gave a two-dimensional representation of the three-dimensional environment. I also worked on optimizing the code and make sure there are no errors on runtime. This included the UI for buying and upgrading for turrets. I have to make sure that the menu will show up when tapping on a tile. I have to display the respective menu. This also includes making sure the menu hides itself when interacting with anything else other than the buttons. And I also worked on the speed toggle button, which makes the game run at a faster pace, reducing the amount of time needed to complete a level. And this concludes most of my work up to this point.
In Sprint 1, I designed two kinds of turrets. First one is the basic standard turret, it just attacks single target. And the other one is the missile launcher, it can attack multiple numbers of the enemies. After designing turrets, I just worked on building the turrets in the map. So I just collect the operation from the players to get the information about what kind of the turret and where to build the turret. After the turret building in the map, I just works on the shooting target. I just create an area to collect all enemies in the maps, and when the enemy go into the fire range, the turret start to shooting the targets. All of this is the task I finished in Sprint 1. And I think the main problem in the Sprint 1 is the unit test. I think it's very different from with the Java unit test, and the Unity provides lots of functions. I'm not sure how to test them. So in next sprint, I will to build two more kind of turrets to make the game more interesting, more fun, and also I would like to focus on the unit test.
Hi, my name is Richard Wang. My task in this project is to complete the game storage work and write the coming the code. Next, I will summarize from the several aspects. The first one is what they do well. I think a good job assigned, no duplicate work done between members. And the second one is updating each other when change were made to code. The third one is issue were not eclipsed and were resolved quickly. And the second one is what did we learn? I think the most important is improve our programming skill, because a lot of people they didn't study C# before. And the second one is improve our communication skill. The third one is a good planning and analysis. are very important before starting a project. The third part is what should we do difficultly next sprint. I think let each other know when we start the next task is very important. And the second one is ensure that people know the current process of the task. So last one is what still puzzle us. There are still few game function which puzzle us, but in terms of agile method, we send to understand why certain agile method were used